As the waves of the Pacific Ocean crash along the shore, this Vancouver beach holds history, washed away over time. Decades ago, it was known among some locals as Brown-Skin Beach.
Black people came here to go to the beach. Japanese people, South Asian, Indigenous people.
It's another sort of whisper of something that was there, and then the frustration of the fact that it wasn't very well documented.
I think it's important to think about how settler colonialism and white supremacy have really shaped urban planning and how urban planning shapes recreational development in the city.
Brown-Skin Beach was the nickname for the Kitsilano Indian Reserve Beach. It existed right here where Vanier Park is now. It was a popular swimming spot for people of color in the early 1900s. And the name isn't well documented, but that doesn't mean the beach has been forgotten. I wanted to find out as much as I could about the beach. So I spoke with those who have connections to it and have written and researched it to show why it's important to preserve its history before it's too late. Let's start with a little bit of background on the land. It belonged to the Squamish people and was known as Sanok. They were forcibly removed from the land in 1913 so the city of Vancouver could expand its infrastructure. We don't know exactly when part of the land started to be used as a beach, but some of the first photos documenting it being used for recreational purposes were taken in the early 1930s. So Heather, what are we looking at here?
You're looking at a number of photos that were taken by Major Matthews, the first city archivist. And he had gone down on August 7th, 1932, not far from where we are now, to where there had been a beach, heavily used by a lot of people in the 1920s and 30s.
It became a destination site for Black and Asian Vancouverites to swim at a time when the pools were segregated and English Bay was not officially segregated. Those other beaches were not officially segregated. But as I understood, what people said is that they were unwelcome there, though. If they were not white.
The segregation Compton is referring to was part of the rules at Crystal Pool. It was an indoor swimming pool located across the water at Sunset Beach from 1929 to 1974.
During the period from 1941 to 1945, there was a segregation policy. And what that policy was that on Tuesday mornings from 10 o'clock till noon was when Chinese, Japanese, and Negroes could swim there.
After getting more of a sense of the beach and who went there, I was hoping to track down someone who had family who went to it around this time period.
My name is Vivian Rignestad, third generation Japanese Canadian. My parents were born in Canada. My mother lived near the beach. My father came from the Powell Street area and swam there a lot. My father used to go there and swim. He was quite the athlete. He would go with his friends and swim there. And my understanding is that they would swim from the beach to the other side, which is now Sunset Beach, and they would swim back and forth.
Rignestad says she wasn't familiar with the nickname Brown-Skin Beach until we spoke. She says hearing it came as a shock.
What it does is it affirms the racism that was there, not just to Japanese Canadians, but to anybody who wasn't white.
So we have photos of people of color using the beach, and we have a secondhand account of someone's family who used to go to it. But neither source mentions the use of the nickname Brown-Skin Beach. Joy Russell has been researching Brown-Skin Beach as part of her thesis for 4 years. How hard has it been for you to verify its existence?
It's been very difficult trying to verify the existence of Brown-Skin Beach in the kind of official archives.
But there is one primary source that both Compton and Russell are familiar with. It's a video recorded of Vancouver resident Joyce Berry back in 2011 as part of the city's 125th anniversary celebration. Berry grew up on Prior Street in the 1940s, and in this video, she specifically uses the term Brown-Skin Beach.
Every year, once a year, we would have a picnic, and my aunts and my grandma and everybody would cook for a whole week getting ready for this big picnic, and we would take the streetcar, and then we would get off, and right there now I think is the planetarium or something, and I don't know what the name of the beach was either, but we used to call it Brown-Skin Beach because we all had brown skin. And my uncles used to swim across that water to where I think Crystal Pool was. And I used to find that so scary because I love water, but I was always really nervous of deep water.
This account shows at least some beachgoers were using the nickname. So why is it not in the city's archives?
The short answer to that is no one who has given records to us wrote that down. Sometimes folks just don't document their lives because documenting your life can be a luxury, right? A good example, early film. Film was really, really expensive, so we have many family films here of very rich members of Vancouver society because they could afford the film.
Even though there isn't a lot of evidence to definitively prove that this nickname existed, some believe it's an important place to recognize because it's part of Vancouver's history.
The fact of how quickly things slip into obscurity, it's a lesson for now. Going to the beach was just kind of everyday thing. I don't think the people who did it imagined that we would be having this interview decades later.
It's the stories that always have the emotion. It's the stories that are memorable.
It's important that our stories get into the official record, but that's not the only archive that exists. They've always been, for centuries and centuries, through oral histories, through storytelling, through dance, through ritual, through ceremonies, through land protocols, and they continue to be documented. So I think it's important that we kind of reframe our idea of what documentation actually looks like.
So yes, the name Brownskin Beach is hard to verify. But hearing the stories, seeing the photographs of those who once visited these shores, and ongoing research shows us how its history lives on even as the landscape changes. Ashley Moliere, CBC News, Vancouver.